Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. It's an honor to be part of this group. So, as it was announced, I will talk today about observability, bringing real-life example. So, observability, I came to this topic 6 months ago when I joined a new organization, and I am responsible for developing the observability of a very important software that runs 24 by 7. It's in the financial system, right? So it's money being transferred. So it's a lot of transactions per day, and we need a software to monitor it, to observe how it's doing. And the observability has many, many definitions, but I brought two here that I like. One is actually seeing beyond the code. It's not the code that we wrote, it's beyond of that. What we can see and what we can conclude by looking beyond. And the other thing is getting to know the unknown, what we don't know and we should know to support this business, right? So as was presented, I will bring this concept with a real-life example. But before that, let's watch this short video.
What's going on here? What happened to my website?
The system is down, yo.
Oh, the system. What?
Yeah, I think too many people tried to log on. Sorry about that.
What are you sorry for? It's my website.
I don't think they're coming to see you, Homestar.
What, you think everybody's logging on to watch Tape Leg? Yeah, that's a good one.
Hey, shut up! The tape leg is cool.
Well, when do I get my website back?
Oh, anytime now. We've got our top men working on it round the clock. Well, I found the problem. Looks like somebody tried to cram a Swiss cake roll.
Let me go next. Okay, so talking about the video. So who has never been in this situation, right? In both sides, the website is down, and we are a stakeholder, and we need to perform our job, and we don't know when this will be fixed. We don't know what happened. We need to perform our job. Nobody can give us a clue when this will be fixed. From the other side, it's also stressful. We have to support this, we have to sustain this business, but we have no idea what happened and how to fix it. So it's not fair being in any of these sides, right? And having no information to our stakeholders. When the stakeholder asked, when I will get my website back, he said, anytime soon. It's not fair, right? That's not the answer that we should be given. So that's why observability came to the place to help us answer these questions and much more. And why this happens, we are investing a lot on software quality, process, etc., but we are still facing this situation, right? The problem is the world is too complex. We depend on so many pieces to have our software running. So we cannot control everything, right? That's the thing. What the code we wrote, the code we tested is just the top of the iceberg. We can't control what we depend on. The only thing we can do is monitor and observe and react fast, right? So that's why it's happening, still happening, even though we are investing a lot on improving our process. So as I promised, an example. So let's talk about this software here. This could be any software. This is kind of a modern architecture nowadays, and this is the software that I support as well. So there is something pushing data to the system the whole day. Can be Uber, for example, pushing data to the system the whole day. The system is queued in a message system. In my case, it's Kafka. And then there is a process later on that processes the data that is queued and store the data in a database, and then the data will be analyzed by the stakeholder in a dashboard. So it's very typical software. And this is the software that I support as well. And then it was Monday morning when I came to work, and then I checked what happened during the weekend. Is everything okay? Any incident? And then I saw an alert. I saw an alert saying that we are running out of disk space for the database. And then I saw, amazing, we have observability. There was an alert triggered to the DBA. So the DBA may have reacted and increased the disk space here, and we are good because we have observability. but let me look a bit further. And then when I look at the system, the second piece, I saw a lot of exceptions being thrown and alert that was thrown to the developer as well. So your system is not okay. And then I said, oh, seems like there is something else going on. Let me investigate a bit more. And then I went to see some dashboards that I have to observe my software. So this is Splunk. It's a log system that we push all the logs there, and we have some dashboards. With this dashboard, I could see when the problem started, how big the problem was, exactly where the problem is, and what kind of exception I was getting. And at this moment, I could relate the two incidents. So this is related to the alert I saw for the database, because the application is not connecting to the database, so it's throwing alerts. And then at this moment, I knew what the problem was. I contacted the DBA. There is no disk space. We started fixing it. And then I started analyzing again what is happening with my software. As I have a message system here, my expectation was, at this point, as we are not able to process the data is accumulated in the message system. And then I went to see if that's true. And then I had another way of looking at that. These are dashboards created in Grafana that's connected directly to Kafka. Kafka is the message system. And these three charts shows me a lot of things. The first one shows me the messages arrived per second. By looking at this chart, I knew that nothing happened here. The data is still coming, no problem, because it's following the same pattern that I'm used to. I know this pattern, so that's the flow for the data income every day. Okay, I said, okay, we didn't lose any data. This is good. The data is coming. What is happening with the consume of the data? You can see this chart shows me the velocity, the speed we consume the data. So the first part, you see that we were consuming 5K messages per second. There was a peak, and then we went down. When we went down was exactly the same time when the incident happened. That's why I could relate these two as well. And then because we are consuming data in a lower speed, I thought, okay, we are accumulating data as I expected. So this shows me the data accumulated. At this time, I know how big was my problem and how long I would take to recover from it. So at this point, I knew that we have accumulated 150 million messages, and we need to process. And at this point, I have all the data to make decisions and to communicate to my boss, say, we had an incident, we're going to take 4 hours to recover from it because I know the velocity I consume this data, I know how much data is accumulated. I could talk to my stakeholder and tell them, you please don't look at your dashboard this morning. The data will take some time to arrive. The system is down. But I told him, he didn't tell me, that's also important. We should be the first one identifying the issues, not letting the users let us know. But at least I told him, okay, we had an issue, we didn't lose any data, and you're going to have your data by 3 p.m. So he knew what's going on. He could just reschedule the day to analyze the charts later on. Okay? So this is observability. It gives me data to make decisions, to communicate better to everyone, to my boss, to my stakeholder, right? Another thing that we can see here is that later on, the same chart shows me the velocity we start consuming the data. So then we saw that the system was catching up, right? And then based on this new velocity, I could conclude how many hours it's going to take to process the whole accumulated data. Okay, so all of this together is observability, and we have to put this in place by the time we need it, right? So I showed an example that observability can be used for these things, detecting the issue faster, enhancing the user experience, monitoring and alerting. We can also have observability for security. For example, if you can see if your system is under attack, you can see from observability as well. Observability helping me to make decisions, data-driven decisions. I have all the information to make a decision here. I also showed how observability can help us optimize cost. I didn't need to reserve too much disk space for the database. I could reserve just enough and create an alert when the database was, we were running out of space. So we were alerted we could increase. So this is also saving cost. But we can also save cost for how many hours we took to find the problem and to fix the problem. This is also saving cost, right? But observability is more than that. Observability can also be understand your business. And then I will show you how observability can help you understand your business as well. But see, this is my business. This is the standard processing in 1 week. So that's the normal pattern. It goes up during the day and it goes down at night. We know our business, right? So when something deviates from this standard, there is an issue or there is some attention that we need to take. So understand the business is also important. So create things like that for monitoring is also important. But let's zoom in a day. This is one typical day, a normal day. So we know our business. And when we look at a chart like this, we see it seems like everything is going well. But it's not just by looking. We have a lot of information here. So let me explain this chart. So the blue line shows the successful transactions per day. And the red line shows the failures. And we have a KPI. We accept, we have this, we know that 0.5% of failures per day is acceptable, is our business. This is normal to happen. So when we look at that number, we know that everything is going well. So this is metrics. So observability is also putting some metrics in place and monitoring it to see if you are in a limit that you think that's normal. Right? There is another metric here, for example. This is the time we expect to process one transaction. We should process in less than 5 seconds, in 4.6 seconds. This is our service level agreement. And we are processing in 0.6 seconds. So we are doing super good. This is a normal day. This is a good day. Okay? So we know our business. We have our metrics. We have our KPIs to see that we are performing well. And here is an indication that we had an issue. When the successful went down, the same time that the failures went up. So this is an indication. And also you see that the percentage of failure this day was 2.6 instead of 0.5. So all of these metrics together with this system, we can understand our business and monitor our business. This can also be used, for example, when you launch a new feature, and then you would like to see how the customers are liking it, if they are liking it or not. So you see, there is any change on the standard of our business, or no, or there is probably they like it or not, or didn't like. So observability can be used for that as well. But in this case, for example, in our case, as we are talking about a financial software, during Christmas, for example, we have a lot of more financial transactions. It's important to see how we are responding to it. Are we able to support this volume of data, right? So, okay. So what do you need to have observability do? You need to instrument your code. And you can instrument your code in 2 ways. You can use code-based solutions or zero-code solutions. Code-based solutions is when you put logs on your application. Log metrics, or you log, I was here, I passed it here. These are, or when you log exceptions that the system thrown also. So this is code-based solutions. But there are also zero-code solutions. What is this? Okay, I will explain, but before that, the important thing here is that you have this instrumentation on this data, and you store it in a single place. In our case, we store it in Splunk. It's a log-based system. And in Splunk, we store application logs, system logs, security logs, network logs, audit logs, database logs. So we log all of this together, and then we can correlate this data, right, to see if one problem here affected one problem there. Remember the two complex system. So we store everything there. So we need things like this to have observability. And this is an example of instrumentation zero-code solutions. There are many tools in the market that does that for us. As I said, you can do it programmatically. You can put logs on your application. But in this case, these applications, what they do, they run together with your software, and they inspect everything that is happening in your software, every single call, external call, database call, and it logs it, and it calculates the time you spend on every single step. So with this, you can analyze if you are making unnecessary calls to the database, for example, if you are making unnecessary calls to external softwares, or if you are taking too long, these calls are taking too long. So you can instrument your code, collect this information, and then analyze later. Usually, this type of solution, you enable it for a shortened time, because as it runs together with your software, it can impact the performance of your software. So you turn it on, you analyze, and then you can turn it off, or not. Depends on the volume of transactions you handle. It can also stay together. But there are a lot of support in this sense. So if you hear these names, this is what this is for. Yeah, so just to conclude, my intention was to introduce the topic to you and showing real-life examples to make it more clear what is observability, how it can help our business, and what we need to put in place to have it. It's kind of being observable is it's kind of a property of a software. It can or cannot, right? But we have to invest on it. And that's it. That's my contribution to this community. Thank you.